Ever loved a movie so much you couldn't wait to own it? You tell your friends, your family, your coworkers, just anyone who would listen. Once it's released, you rush over to possess it, excited to relive the experience. But in the end, it only sits and collects dust. This time, I'll be unwrapping them.
Hey, what's up everybody? I'm here for another Unwrapped review. This time I'm doing The Hate U Give. So, The Hate U Give is not a movie that, this is the first time I've seen it. This is probably, the second time I've seen it. I thought it was interesting that I chose to watch this next after I saw BlacKkKlansman because it's more movies about, race relations and injustice in, the police system and all that other stuff. But, at the time, I was reading BlacKkKlansman, the book, by Ron Stallworth. I was also reading The Hate U Give book by Angie Thomas. And then I was just kind of I don't want to read any more books that has to do with, the black struggle. No offense, because, I am black, and I struggle. But I just needed kind of a break from, the heavy subject matter, especially because of the book that I read after BlacKkKlansman, which, that's a topic for another day. But since I finished reading the book, I thought, well, maybe my next, Unwrapped review should be the movie because I hadn't opened it yet, and I'm still kind of upset with the quality of this flimsy case. I guess they just don't care anymore. But that's not the point. I did see this in the theaters. It was really, really good. I really wanted to read the book before I saw it in the theaters. I really wanted to read the book before I knew it was going to be a movie. So I'm glad I picked this up at my book sale. I checked it out, and then I had to turn it in because somebody else wanted it, and then they were selling this copy because it was a little damaged. So I bought it. I think it was $2. Yeah, it's $2. There you go. So in case you don't know what The Hate U Give is about, let me tell you. Based on the best-selling novel by Angie Thomas, The Hate U Give tells the story of Star Carter, who lives in two worlds, the poor black neighborhood where she resides and the mostly white prep school she attends. This uneasy balance is shattered when she witnesses the fatal shooting of her childhood friend by a policeman. Facing pressures from all sides, Star must find her voice and stand up for what's right. I'm sure in 2018, plenty of people have already reviewed it and have already compared it to the book, so I'm going to try not to be too long-winded about comparing the two. They're both really, really good. This is a rare moment where the movie does live up to the book. Of course, there are changes in it, but I feel like they were kind of necessary changes to push the story's message further and not fall into these, conventions that we're used to seeing on TV, where when a innocent black man is killed, or an unarmed innocent black man is killed, that they instantly villainize the person, the man, and they focus on that a lot, and then they make the officer, this shining glory of, heroism to the community, that there is nothing wrong. They focus on that a lot, while the book kind of delves into more of why people feel like they need to, be part of a gang and deal in that activity, and also expands upon more of the injustice. And the movie does do a good job of conveying that as well. And it something I really liked about both the movie and the book is that it does show what happens after you have witnessed after someone has witnessed this sort of police brutality, this injustice, like what happens? They don't just disappear in real life. They don't. They have to process all of their emotions of anger and grief and loss and mourning and all of these like things. So we get to get an insight in that. And the book kind of, of course, expands on Star's like journey after the fact a little bit more than the movie. Pretty much if you want to like expand upon the story that's in here, read the book. But I mean, it does do a good job. Do you have to read the book before you watch the movie? No, you don't, because I mean, I did it. I watched the movie without reading the book. But then when I read the book, I was just like, this is nice that this is expanded upon. That they did take out characters or change characters or tweak them just a little bit, but they still conveyed the same powerful message of injustice and also processing like losing someone and being angry that things aren't the way that they should be. And I recently watched a review from a YouTuber named Ida the Fine or the Art or the Fine. I'll link her video in a card, but she did like a very good like comparison, and she like really enjoyed the portrayal of Maverick, Star's father, and how he's such like a great role model to see in a movie, because most black fathers are portrayed a certain way. And it was just nice that like to see a father be involved with his family so deeply and trying to teach them how to survive in this world. It's like you have to, as a person of color, you have to know how to live in both worlds, in your own and in their world. So I like that was like very important to like push that point throughout the movie. It's also mentioned in the book as well. One powerful scene that like totally shook me to the core was toward the end of the movie, where Maverick and King, who is they used to be like really tight. Maverick, Star's father, used to be part of the King Lords, a prominent gang in their neighborhood, and he went to jail for something like to say like he went to jail, and then when he came out, he had nothing to do with gangs because he wanted to be with his family and stuff. So throughout the movie, they constantly kind of bump heads, and also in the book, because Star wants to out this like whole gang mentality, the whole the thug thing, which came from Tupac, if you didn't know that. They also mentioned that in the movie and in the book. The thug life thing is an actual like acronym. It's not promoting like being a thug or whatever. But where was I going with this? So at the end of the movie, they're about to like fight each other again, and then Sakani, Star's like little brother, like takes his gun and points it at King, and the police are coming, and that just totally shook me. I didn't know where it was gonna go. I was afraid to watch. I was so scared. Like, it was kind of that a similar feeling that I felt like at the end of Get Out, when I think his name was Chris, was on top of his girlfriend, and you see the sirens, and you're just kind of like, oh God, this isn't gonna be good. So I don't know how that feels for someone like who's like not a person of color, or someone I don't know, who isn't aware of what's going on here in America or other places. if they had that same feeling of like, oh no, this isn't gonna go well, this is gonna end terribly, I don't even want to look. But I think that speaks volumes. Another scene that I thought was really powerful was when Star confronts, I think her friend was Haley, the blonde. And it's a lot more impactful in the movie compared to the book, even though, like, in the book she does tell Haley off, but she tells her off in a totally different way, kind of like breaking down, like, look, this is why I think you do or say, like, racist stuff, and you need to stop that, and we can't be friends. It just doesn't work that way. So, but in the book, she was just, like, not in the book, in the movie, it's just more of a, what you're saying isn't right, and, like, it'll never be right, and, like, let me demonstrate, like, I got a hairbrush, like, is this a weapon? Are you afraid? Are you afraid? Like, so, I don't know. I'm probably not explaining this very well. I'm probably totally failing for Angie Thomas and the director of The Hate U Give. I'm so sorry. But all I have to say is just, like, a really, really good film. Definitely check it out. I think it says a lot about what's going on in the world in a very succinct and impactful way without being preachy. And it also kind of opens up, like, what black people have to deal with and what they have to teach to their children, especially their sons, on how to deal with police and how to just survive, because we're constantly just trying to survive, which just sucks. And I think this movie does a very good job of that. It's not always completely depressing. It does, I mean, it speaks truth, but it's also very encouraging, and it explains a lot if you have black friends or relatives or whatever. If you want to understand their struggle, definitely, like, check the movie out for sure. Definitely put it on that list of movies like to watch, especially if you have, you know, brothers or cousins or whatever. Like, watch it with them and, you know, talk about it. It says a lot. As for the book was so easy to read. It's like, once I jumped into it, like, the way it's written, I couldn't stop. And when I had to stop reading, I got mad because I was just so, like, immersed in this world. And I really like writing like that, especially for young adults, because sometimes they're a little too wordy and descriptive, and I just don't, I'm like, please get to the point, or please give me a reason to care about this character. They're both really, really great. I understand why this was, like, in the top of, like, the book charts, and I wish this movie, like, more people talked about it the way they did. They talked about Black Klansman, because they're both very, very important movies. Definitely don't recommend, like, you know, piling on these social justice type things all at once. It's very overwhelming, especially if you're black or just a person of color, so, you know, take your time. But obviously, I highly recommend both of these. You should definitely check them out. I probably did a terrible job of comparing the two, but they're both really good, and I probably will, you know, watch the movie again later at some point. I mean, not now. I have other stuff I need to watch. Well, anyway, that's the video. I hope you like this Unwrapped review of The Hate U Give. If you like this video, want to see more stuff that I do, you can hit that subscribe button below, and also give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed my terrible description of why I like this movie and this book, because I honestly don't think I did a very good job. And if you want early access to my videos and other stuff that I do, and you want to just support me even more, you can go to Patreon, like these lovely people below, because why not? Anyway, so that's it. See you guys next time.